182, class 182, welcome. Yes. Today we're going to start with Li Tong, our Chinese friend, but not yet. In just a few minutes. How many copies did you make? ¿Cuántas copias hice? What of this? Of this? This is the copy. This is Li Tong. Yeah, right here. Now, how many copies did I make? Let's see, one. I made 7 copies. Where did you make the copies? Excuse me? Where did you make the copies, Richard? I made them next door. Next door. What does next door mean? La puerta al lado. Next door is a very common expression, means el vecino de al lado, o el despacho de al lado, o la casa de al lado. Siempre se dice the next door, next door, next door. Siempre se dice próxima puerta. Se dice así, next door, next door, next door, next door. So next door, what's next door? The photocopy room. So I made the copies next door in the photocopy room. But excuse me, Richard, many classes ago, you said the teacher training room was next door. Did I? Yes. Did I really? I don't remember saying that. Richard, you're changing your stories all the time. Well, listen, it's true. The teacher training room was next door, but it's not there anymore. We moved it. Moved it. Primera columna de los regulares. We moved it to another room. And we transformed this room into the photocopy room. So yes, I made these copies next door. Where did you find those pencils? Aquí dice, where did you find your umbrella? I found my umbrella under the table, for example. Where did you find those pencils? Easy. I found those pencils in a department store. In what? In a department store. What does department store mean? Grandes almacenes, unas tiendas de grandes almacenes, like the Corte Inglés or like Macy's or like Bloomingdale's, etc. These are department stores, which means a big store that has a lot of different departments. Women's clothing, men's clothing, sporting goods, etc. That's a department store. So I bought these. I found them in a department store. Was it easy or difficult to find them? To tell you the truth, it wasn't very easy to find them. Because I went to 2 sections. I went to the office supply section, stationery, which is artículos de oficina. And I went to the toy section for children. And where did you find them? I found them in the toy section. Yes, toys, colored pencils. And did you buy them? I told you. No, I didn't buy them. Marta bought them. I found them. I saw them, but I didn't buy them. The next day I told Marta to go to the department store to buy them. Why didn't you buy them when you saw them? Because Marta's the boss here in this room, and Marta makes the decisions. I got the information. I saw the pencils, and I spoke to Marta about the pencils, and she made the final decision whether to buy them or not. Whether. Suena tiempo atmosférico. Whether. Los americanos aspiramos la WH, whether. Y eso se dice cuando dice or not, whether. She makes the decisions, I don't. She does, I don't. Who makes the decisions? Marta does. Who doesn't make the decisions? I don't. She does, but I don't. Concerning pencils, concerning makeup, concerning lights, concerning camera, concerning props, even concerning shirts. Marta says, white, yellow, light blue. No, yellow no, but not a pink. White, pink, light blue. Because of, debido al fondo, because of the background. All right. Where did you find those pencils? I found them. found them in a department store. How did you find your first job? I didn't find my first job. It came to me. A friend of mine was a paper boy delivering newspapers in the middle of the night, and he got tired of his job. He spoke to me, said, "You want my job?" I said, "Sure." I met the supervisor, and 1 week later, I was delivering newspapers in the middle of the night. So I didn't find my first job. All right. And uno más. What did you tell your people? What people? The people who work in your company. What did I tell them? Yeah, what did you tell them? I told them to be careful for tsunamis if they go to the beach. That's strange. Well, listen, I told them, if you go to the beach with your family, always have one designated tsunami watcher who's watching in case there's a tsunami coming. I mean, really, it is dangerous. My God, Richard, the probability of a tsunami is 0.0001%. Yeah, I know, but más vale prevenir, no? It's better to be safe than sorry. Yes, that's true, Richard. It's better to be safe than sorry. Más vale prevenir que curar. But in this particular case of designating a specific tsunami watcher, I just don't think it's necessary. But you never know. Italy, Greece, Turkey, the Levant, there are earthquakes, and some of them are on the seabed, lecho marino of the Mediterranean, and that produces tsunamis. They can come across the Mediterranean and come to the coast of Valencia, Barcelona, etc. So it's very dangerous. Yeah, but again, Richard, the probability is very remote. Yeah, but it's better to be safe than sorry, right? Yes, it's always better to be safe than sorry, but again, de nuevo, again, in this case, I think you're a bit radical in your approach. So, what did you tell your people? Well, I told them to be careful for tsunamis. That's all. And you didn't tell them anything else. I told them to have a nice summer. Yeah, the summer break. I told them that last August, at the beginning, well, the last day of September, the last day of July, I told my people, okay, everybody, summertime, it's vacation time, time for holidays. Have a good time, everybody. See you on September 1st. Be careful for tsunamis, okay? And so I don't want to lose any of my employees because of tsunamis. All right. Are you ready for Li Tong? I've been teaching these classes too long. I'm starting to get silly. Are you ready for Li Tong? Are you ready? All right. I think he's here with 3 other men, well dressed. All right. Yesterday, Li Tong decided to learn English. I said, wow, okay. Ay, qué horror. Yesterday, Li Tong decided, tercera columna. Yesterday, Li Tong decided to learn English. He made the decision at exactly 11:15 in the morning. All right. Okay. He was working in the telephone factory as every day. Al igual que todos los días. Como todos los días. As every day. At about, or around 11, or at about 11, Lee saw one of the young employees from the process engineering department. Ingeniería de procesos de fabricación. Mecanizado, montaje, yes. He saw, at about 11 o'clock, Lee saw one of the young employees, not old employee, one of the young employees, se le ve. One of the young employees from the process, se ve aquí, from the process engineering department, with two tall men who appeared, primera columna, who appeared to be English or American. All right. They were wearing ties. Bueno, aquí Lee también is wearing a tie. Yeah, he's wearing a tie. But in the picture, no. He's not wearing a tie here. Here he's wearing a tie. All right. Why? This picture of Lee is more recent than that picture of Lee. This is after Lee was promoted to the offices from the factory. But that's a story we're going to see. So, at around 11 o'clock, Lee saw one of the young employees from the process engineering department, with two tall men who appeared to be English or American. They were wearing ties. The young employee was talking to them in English and explaining the production process. At one moment, en inglés probablemente aquí se diría at one point, más que moment. Moment is correct, but point is even better. At one moment, or at one point, the young employee asked Lee a few questions about his job. Lee explained, first column, Lee explained that he was responsible for inserting the microphone in the telephone receiver. Hello? In the telephone receiver. So Lee explained to the other Chinese employee, he explained that he was responsible for inserting the microphone in the telephone receiver. Then the young employee said 2 or 3 sentences to the foreign men, los extranjeros, and they looked at the work Lee was doing. They smiled at Lee, said something in English. He supposed they said thank you. And he said thank you in Chinese. Then the 3 people left and continued walking around the factory. All right. Lee went back to his work. But he was thinking about the young Chinese employee. Lee was sure that the young man probably earned a lot more money than he did, or than him. He knew the company was growing very fast. Sabía. He knew the company was growing very fast. Some of the workers in the factory were now in office jobs and were earning more money than Lee. At that moment, he made the decision to learn English. He didn't know how much it cost. He didn't know how much it cost to take classes. But he decided to ask one of his friends who was working in the same department as the young man. He knew that his friend was going to a language school less than 500 meters from where Lee lived. All right. By the way, the 2 men who were visiting the factory weren't English nor American. They were Australian. Okay. These 2 men are Australian. Se les ve, no? Yeah, they're from Melbourne, Australia. All right. And they were visiting the factory. So, what happened yesterday? Whew, a very important moment in Lee's life. Really? What happened? Yesterday, Lee decided to learn English. All right. Crazy Lee. Yeah, he decided to learn English. When did he make this decision? He made this decision at exactly 11:15. How do you know? Well, because when the two Australians and the Chinese employee left and continued touring the factory, Lee spent 2 or 3 minutes thinking about the employee and thinking about ex-factory employees working in the offices and about earning more money. And he made the decision at 11:15. All right? But where was he working at that time? He was working in the factory. He was working at his position, his place in the factory as every day. Como cualquier día, as every day. When did he see these 3 people? You mean the young employee and the 2 Australians? Yeah, when did he see them? Well, he saw them around 11 o'clock. Did they come to his workstation? Se dice mucho estación de trabajo, so it's como su mesa de trabajo, workstation. Did they come to his workstation? Yes, they did. They came to Lee's workstation. Why did they come to his station? Well, because the Chinese employee was showing the visitors around the factory. Fíjate lo que acabo de decir. Darle un tour, o sea, una visita a una fábrica. Se dice to show, como mostrar, como enseñar, to show around. So the employee, the young employee, was showing the 2 men around the factory. And they stopped, segunda columna, they stopped at Lee's work table or Lee's workstation. And what did they do? Well, the Chinese employee asked Lee to explain his job. And did Lee explain his job? Yes, he did. Did he explain it in English or in Chinese? Well, he explained his job in Chinese. Well, why did he explain it in Chinese? Well, because Lee doesn't know English. Does the young employee, Chinese employee, know English? Yes, he does. That's why he's giving these 2 men a tour of the factory. That's why he's showing them around the factory, because he knows English. And did Lee explain his job? Yes, he did. He explained it to the young employee. And did the young employee translate for the 2 men? Yes, I suppose so. Yes, he explained Lee's function, Lee's responsibilities to the 2 men. Were the men English? No, they weren't. Were they American? No, they weren't. Did they look English or American? Well, for Lee, yes. For Lee, they looked English or American. But were they? No, they weren't. What nationality were they? They were Australian. Were they from Sydney? No, they weren't. Were they from the capital? The capital. No, they weren't. What city is the capital of Australia? Canberra. Canberra is the capital of Australia, Canberra. Well, where were they from? Where were they from? ¿De dónde eran? Where were they from? They were from Melbourne. All right. Now, did the employee and the 2 men stay at Lee's work table for a long time? No, they didn't. They continued touring the factory. The young employee continued showing them around the factory. And what did Lee do? Well, he started working again. He continued working. Yes. But did he start thinking? Yes, he started thinking. What was he thinking about? He was thinking about the young employee. And what was he thinking about the young employee? Well, he was thinking that the young employee worked in the offices, not in the factory. And he knew, ya sabía, he knew that this young man earned probably a lot more than Lee did. Lee also remembered that several factory workers were now working in the offices and earning more than Lee. So for Lee was seeing that to earn more, he needed to work in the offices. But to work in the offices, it's not necessary, but it's very recommendable to speak English. So he made the decision to learn English. All right, pobrecito, no sabe lo que le espera. But we'll follow his life. So, by the way, when did this happen? This happened a year ago. A little more than a year, maybe 14 months ago. At that time, was the company growing fast? Yes, the company was, at that time, 14 months ago, yes, the company was growing very fast. It's still growing fast, but a little less. But 14 months ago, viento en popa, yes, the company was growing very, very fast. So, did Lee know how much it cost to study English? Well, it doesn't cost anything to study English. It costs to take English classes with a teacher, yes. Well, did he know how much it cost to take classes? No, he didn't. Lee didn't know how much it cost to take classes. Well, did he decide to find out? Averiguar? Yes, he decided to find es encontrar. Find out, se pronuncia find out, es averiguar algo, conseguir la información. He decided to find out. How? Well, a friend of Lee's this is 14 months ago. A friend of Lee's was taking English classes at a language school not too far from Lee's house. Really? How far was the language school from Lee's house? About 500 meters, half a kilometer. Half. Recuerda que la L de half is muda, no es half. Half. Half a kilometer, medio kilómetro. Half a artículo. Half a kilometer away. 500 meters away. So, Lee is going to look into the possibility. ¿Va a mirar la posibilidad? Bueno, yes, look at the possibility, pero se dice look into. Look into? Yeah. I'm looking into the cup. ¿Se va a mirar dentro de la posibilidad? No. Look into tiene un significado físico. I'm looking into the cup. Pero tiene un significado figurado. It means investigar. To investigate son detectives. Research son científicos o gente de marketing. Market research. But to look into is investigar. Mira, lo voy a investigar y te digo algo mañana. Voy a investigar el asunto. I'm going to look into the matter. And so Lee Tong is going to look into this question, taking English classes. So yesterday was an epiphany for Lee Tong. An epiphany. He made the decision. Now, the story of Lee is a very interesting story that involves his 7-year-old or 8-year-old daughter. It involves a teacher by the name of Peter, Pedro. And it involves self-study, autoestudio. Lee Tong is going to learn English. He's going to surprise everybody. But he's going to have a moment of discouragement, de desánimo total. But thanks to his daughter and to his hard work, he's going to learn English well. And so we will follow Lee's example, su ejemplo. We'll follow his example. Se puede aprender inglés sin gastar ni un euro. Siguiendo lo que hizo Lee. Bueno, gastó dinero al principio, luego se dio cuenta that he can learn it on his own. But that's a story that we'll continue to see. So Lee Tong, he learns the only thing, he doesn't even know how to say thank you in English. He doesn't know how to say yes or no in English. He doesn't know if the negative is no, nein, niet, or whatever, or ma. He doesn't know. He doesn't know a single word in English. But he's going to learn English. Why? Because 14 months ago, he had an important moment. And he made an important decision. See you tomorrow.